Hello and welcome to Unwind Sessions, where right after my shift I give the highlights of my workday and answer any questions that might have been asked at the previous session. My name is Juan. I am an English Spanish medical video remote interpreter with over 4 years of experience. Today is Wednesday, April 28, 2021, and I took a total of 31 sessions today. It was a mix between phone sessions and video sessions. And there was really just one session that really stood out today to actually tell you what happened during this session as a highlight. And this was a very bad session. It was a very bad session because as soon as the call came in, there was a very bad noise on the line, and it was a video session. It was very bad. It sounded like they were blasting the AC, and like the wind was just blowing in through the microphone. I really don't know what was going on, but the noise was bad. And then the patient's mother had a face mask on, of course, because of the pandemic, and she was very soft spoken, and then she spoke very fast. And then there was like a point in the session where they were asking her about her pharmacy, the child's school, and where they lived. And they actually moved around quite a lot. So the lady was saying all of this. She spoke Spanish and she was saying all of these English words and names, like for addresses and things like that. So adding everything to the equation, the bad noise, the face mask, she was soft spoken and she spoke very fast. And of course, her English was not her first language. It was bad. It was bad. Like, honestly, I couldn't even understand what she said. So um, I for this session, I didn't want to actually let tell the lady to spell it out because I knew that since the session was so bad, I wouldn't be able to actually make out the words that she said, and I really couldn't understand any of the words that she was saying in English. And even when she spoke in Spanish, I had to ask for several repetitions because of how soft spoken she was, and because of how fast she spoke as well. So as soon as I was able to, as soon as I identified that she was spoke very soft, I told the provider if she could move the device that I was on closer to her, that way that I could hear her. And even though I was closer to her, since she spoke very fast and very soft spoken, I had to ask her to speak up as well. And it was still very hard to understand her. So I asked many repetitions, and just for that one section where the provider was asking her all of the names of the streets and cities and schools, I would just repeat what I understood from the patient. And the provider seemed to understand what I was saying because, of course, they live in that area and would just respond normally. So sometimes that will work, especially if they're asking very specific things in an area. One thing that I like to do is, for example, when they tell me the name of the street and I don't understand what they're trying to say, I just repeat it back to the provider exactly as I heard it. And many of the times, since they are familiar with that area, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, it was this or it was this." And and they usually get it because they are from that area, and they usually do get it. And oh, sorry, it does that there's a message on there with viewers in battery. Okay, man, I really gotta remember to plug it in whenever I'm recording. Okay, so anyways, rookie mistake. So as I was saying, I usually just repeat when I don't understand something instead of asking the person to go ahead and spell it. What I actually say is just say the word exactly as I heard it. And many times, since the people are familiar with that area, they will understand. Or if they don't understand, they will ask for the spelling or for a repetition, and that will actually save a lot of time in the session, and it will make it flow very naturally. And sometimes they will ask you to spell it, but most of the time, I've used this strategy, and it actually works very well, as it did very well in this case. So that is going to be pretty much it for the highlights of today. Not very hard session. They were all pretty easy, and I had a very good night's sleep last night, so ready. I'm ready to just get through my whole day right now. And as I was interpreting today, it was a pretty good day for me because I had all the energy, all the focus, all the drive. I was in the zone, and I believe I did a pretty good job today. Okay, so moving on, since I don't have any other highlights, I would like to go into story time today. And the story that I'm gonna tell you is how I became an interpreter. So this was back in 2016. It was like around November. I used to be an electrician. I was an electrician for a very long time. And I had a boy. I already had a little boy. He was like about 2 years old. And I had a little girl on the way. And of course, with my salary, it was getting tougher with the boy just to make ends meet. And now with a girl on the way, I knew that I had to make more money because I just wasn't going to make it. And I've always been a hustler. I've always been looking for ways to actually make more money. I never really just settled on just being an electrician. I've done many side jobs and many side things, and I wouldn't even know where to start. All the things that I've tried and all the things that I've done. But anyways, during that time, I joined an MLM company, multi-level marketing company. If you're not familiar with that, in hopes of making money. And the training program that they had in this company, it was very, very aggressive. I remember that. I think it was like me and two or three other people that went to that training session. And when we were there, they had us make a list of 10 people that we could call that would be interested in our product. And when we made the list of those 10 people, then the trainer said, okay, now you are going to call everybody in that list right here in front of us, and we are going to grade your pitch. That way you will improve your pitch and you will be better. And well, I really didn't like that, but I was there, so I said, what's the worst that could happen, right? So I went ahead and I called my friends and family, and I happened to call one of my friends that lived in the city that I had not seen in many years because I actually left the city and I had been back in that city for about a couple of months. So I hadn't seen him in I don't know how many years, but I still had his phone number and I gave him a call and I gave him my pitch and he seemed very cool. He seemed to accept everything and it was a very nice call. So of course, the trainer scored me very well on that session. Not on the other one so well, but on that one particularly because everything went so well. He was so calm and he accepted everything, and I had an appointment to see him again, and everything went great. And so the training ended, and as soon as I got home, I got in my computer and I had an email message. And as soon as I checked it, I opened it up, And then I had an email that read, "Here's a good company with here's a good company with a good salary, so you don't have to convince people to join your pyramid scheme." And of course, I laughed, and that was the message that my very good friend Mimo, shout outs to you, he actually gave me. He gave me the information for this company, and so I had my little laugh and I actually checked them out. And it sounded very interesting. I mean, the pay difference from where I was working was significant enough to get me interested. And of course, it was a work from home. So that just sold me. I was going to be making more and I was going to be working from home. I mean, what's not to like, right? So another thing was that I wouldn't have to ride the bus anymore to go to work because I had to wake up very early, catch the bus, and it was like a 45-minute bus ride just to and from work. So that was a deal breaker. And so I went ahead and applied for this company, and they did an initial screening of interpretation. And I of course, not knowing how to be an interpreter or anything, I just went on. It was a phone call session. I just went on there and I did the screening off of memory. And they actually told me that they were going to give me another interview. So as soon as I knew that I was going to get the other interview and I passed the second interview and they told me I was going for training, but they would give me free training, no pay, and then after the training I had to pass a final test to actually be able to work for this company. And as soon as I knew that I was signed up for training, I went into my old job and I put in my resignation. I quit my job. I actually quit my job to become an interpreter, and I told myself, I mean, this is your job. You're going to be an interpreter now. And I just left myself no choice. It was either do or die. Become an interpreter, or you don't have a job no more, and trying to get a good job, it's going to be tough. So that was my drive and my motivation. I knew that I needed to make more money because my little girl was on her way, and I actually wanted to give my family a much better life, you know. And 4 years later, I'm here, and I'm very glad that I made that choice and that I can actually provide my family with a very good life. And I mean, I am very grateful for this profession, for all the companies that I worked for the companies that I work for now, for everybody, all of the groups and everyone that has helped me along the way, and also every one of you that actually sees value in everything that we do and appreciates us that we're trying to help you become better interpreters. So that is my story of how I became an interpreter. I hope you liked it and it was entertaining. And I would love to hear how you became an interpreter or why you became an interpreter. Please go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I would really like to read all of those comments. So that is pretty much it for me today. Please leave your questions on the comments, and I will answer some of them on the next session. Remember, I'll be here every Monday through Friday after work, and if I happen to not work a day, I will let you know beforehand so you don't expect the session. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe if you like the video and have not done so for more content, and don't forget to share. Happy interpreting. Goodbye.